Welcome to the 34th episode of the Mayor's Mixtape. I'm Haley Sue Robinson, Director of Public Affairs for the City of Pueblo.
I'm Heather Graham, City of Pueblo Mayor.
And I just want to remind you, you can find our podcast on YouTube, Apple, Buzzsprout, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also watch on local channel 17. You can email us your topics or suggestions, questions, mayor@pueblo.us, and we would love to answer them for you. Mayor, let's get into the City Council recap. We had a longer work session last night. Actually, not quite as long as I anticipated, but let's start with the Convergys project that was talked about last night. So this is the Convergys, the Circle K project. And for people who missed it, can you kind of walk us through some of this and explain what the plans are for that property?
Yeah, so the property is on Orman and Northern, the old Convergys building that has been vacant now for quite some time. The roof is caved in. It's continuously on fire. Had lots of bad stuff going on over in that area. So there is a private entity who's going to be purchasing the building, the lot. The city owns the front portion of the lot. And the city is going to help incentivize this purchase with some of our demo funds in order to get the building down.
Okay.
And then the city will acquire 1.2 acres of the total property, and we'll have the backside, if passed by city council, of the property where we're looking to put in some workforce housing. And then on the front side will be a Circle K.
Okay.
That was discussed last night, and it's not just going to be your normal typical gas station. It's going to have 1,200 additional square footage of a market/grocery option.
Okay.
On the front side, so it's really going to help
like
with
fresh
the
food.
Food desert issues in Bessemer, and so it's just it's a great project overall. So I think the city council is going to support it. It's kind of what I heard last night. So super excited to get the building down, acquire the property, and see something new come up in that area. Yeah.
Okay, and I think one of the important questions that a lot of folks had was who currently owns the property? Does the city own the property?
No, Convergys owns the majority of the property. The city owns one little square, the corner piece of Northern and Ormond, that front piece.
Okay.
Parking.
Okay, so then Circle K would acquire it from Convergys. We would assist with the demo, and then the city would acquire
the back portion of
the property.
The majority of the property.
Okay. Additionally, there was another good question as to kind of the function of TIF dollars and how or why those dollars aren't being used for this project, or how that works in conjunction with this project.
Yeah, so there are no TIF dollars in that district currently. We don't have any catalyst project.
Okay.
That is increasing the base from the original. That would take a new property. It would take a demo of a building.
Okay.
In order to actually build TIF dollars. At one time, they were going to put a Black Hill substation in the area that was going to be the catalyst project to generate those TIF dollars, but that didn't happen.
Okay.
So in order to generate the TIF, you have to have a new property.
Something that increases the tax base.
Yeah, or something that increases the value of the property. So if we don't see any new buildings going up, or we don't see any new buildings being rehabbed and refurbished, you're not going to have any TIF dollars generated. So this Circle K would be essentially the startup for this TIF district.
This could be a catalyst project. Yeah. Okay. Because that was another phrase that was used a lot last night. Yeah. And so I think it's important for folks to understand, what does that mean?
Yep.
How does it work? And then what does that do for us moving forward? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we'll see that on first reading on the 27th?
Correct.
Okay. Great. That's exciting.
Yeah, super exciting.
I think it could be a really cool project for not only the Bessemer neighborhood, but I mean, most folks know the Convergys building and how long it's been vacant, and all the problems that we've had at that location for police, fire, the calls for service.
Yeah, right across the street we have Bessemer Park.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be fencing. That should be fenced and done by the end of the year.
Great.
So we're also looking forward to getting that property
More secured.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Very good things happening. Okay, so Mayor, the majority of last night's work session was your presentation for the budget.
Mm-hmm.
You presented the proposed 2026 budget, and overall you presented a council budget with a 15% decrease in operating costs. You proposed a $5.17 million reduction in expenditures, which includes non-departmental costs, contractual agreements, health and welfare, other contributions and donations, transfers to other funds and operating. So can you kind of explain how that came to be, where we got the $5.17 million?
Sure. So previously the city had funded nonprofits additionally outside of the non-departmentals. So we're not doing that this year. There was multi-million dollars worth of funding going to outside nonprofits when I first became the mayor. And so we decreased that 50% last year, and then we decreased it completely for nonprofits to come straight to the city to ask. So the city gives $490,000 a year to CSAC.
Mm-hmm.
So I increased that $60,000 to $550,000. The county is going to do the same, which will be about $1.1 million that people can apply through CSAC.
Okay.
So that those funding sources are not going to be coming to the city's general fund any longer. So that was a large majority of that.
Mm-hmm.
We also did a 15% decrease in all of our contractual non-departmentals, and you would also see a decrease in the overall expenditure. And then for the operating, we did a 15% decrease in the city's line items, and I think that
For
was
each of the
almost
departments.
$2 million
Okay.
worth of savings. Also, our transfers out, we subsidize transit, Memorial Hall, and so we're not subsidizing those outside outside the general fund as much as we were previously. We also are taking our emergency 911 funds and our lottery funds and using a portion of those for pay for the employees for dispatch and then the employees at the Parks Department. So that's where you see
Sure. Some
another
changes.
lump sum of that decrease in there. So
Okay.
overall, the expenditures, you will see a decrease, but you will see an increase in personnel wages. And that attributes to our health insurance costs went up 5.8% for 2026.
Sure.
Which is about $1.4 million overall. And then you will see all the contractual unions, so fire, PD, Page, which are general service employees, and you'll see the increase that city council votes and approves when we're negotiating those contracts every year.
Yeah, and I have each of those approved increases. So it was a 4.72% approved increase for the fire department.
Which is about $1 million.
Okay. 4% for police sergeants and 3.6% increase for police officers and corporals. And then the Page increase of 3.25%. And then the last increase to be approved by council would be 3.25 for appointed and management.
Yep.
And that's yet to be approved? That's part of the proposed budget?
Part of the proposed budget.
Okay.
Those individuals, those employees are not within.
They're non-union members.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that was an increase of $3.54 million overall in wages. And that's part of the negotiation process that we've discussed before. And pretty standard for what we see each year, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's set by charter, so it's the comparables to our other communities. So it's an average based off the 5 other communities that we compare to at an 85% though. So 15% reduction compared to what those other communities are paying their employees.
Got it. Okay. There were a couple other things that stuck out that I thought maybe we should talk about. So one thing was the 2025 adopted change fund balance of nearly $8.6 million. That's what we talked a lot about at the beginning of this year. Yep. And then the actual change was $5.67 million.
And that's projected actual. So that's based off of. So our projected, when we talk projected budget, we're talking about halfway or a quarter of the way through the year. So finance goes in, they say this is how much departments have spent. These are open positions that we have, and although we said we were going to be $9 million in the hole with all the open positions, and maybe some projects didn't cost, but we thought that they were going to cost.
Oh, sure.
That's where you're going to see that difference in the actual. So you're always going to see a less number than what we budgeted for to take out of the reserves because we have open police positions.
Got it.
So we have 39 vacancies right now. It's about $4 million.
Sure.
Between wages, benefits. So we've continuously seen that roll over every year back into the city's fund balance if those positions are open.
And then you take into account other positions that may be open at certain points in the year and some salary savings, or like you discussed, the project costs could be under budget.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I thought that was important to discuss, just the difference, because that $8.6 million has been something that has been talked about, throughout the year, and has been a really big sticking point for a lot of folks as far as what does it look like for the future. So
I mean, when we talk about the 8.6 was relatively in the middle of all of the other transfers we've done. So in 2023, we transferred $16 million out of the reserves to balance the budget.
Okay.
And in 2024, $10 million.
Yeah.
So we've seen larger numbers that we transferred out of the reserves in previous years, but that is because in the prior year, like our director of finance said, we debruced and people were spending a ton of money because you had all of this federal stimulus money.
Right.
So instead of returning that to the citizens, it goes into our savings, right? We propose and project what projects, the majority of that money went to pave roads.
Sure.
So yes, it went to our savings. Then we had to transfer it out of our savings into our general fund expenditures through the year. So that's why you see these large decreases in the fund balance.
Got it.
It's not because we were out of control spending of $16 and $10 million. It's because we debruced and we said we were going to pave roads. So you have to then transfer that money out of your general fund because it rolled over and allocate it to those projects that you're projecting in that next year.
Got it. Okay.
There's no way that because we budget a year in advance. That money doesn't just go to your general fund account, your regular checking account. It always just goes back into your savings.
Okay. So you would have to make that transfer when the promise was made to the voters about debrucing and allocating the funds towards roads. We had to make the transfer. It wasn't an automatic.
Nope.
Got it. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. I think that's helpful for folks to understand. I thought another really interesting piece of your presentation from last night was the $27.3 million in secured grant funding.
Yeah.
And that's through October of 2025. So we still have a couple of months left in the year. That's roughly a split of 63% from federal grants, 35% from state, and a small 0.66% with foundation grants. Airport and public transit received the large majority of the highest grant awards in the city. And we had $5.8 million that was declined for grant funding. But there's an additional $2.9 million in progress for potential award, and so that would put us over $30 million in 2025. I think that's a pretty significant number. $30 million just doesn't seem like a no big deal. It feels like a big win. So I thought maybe we could talk about how those grant dollars help when we're talking about the budget and when you're talking about reductions for the future, and why that maybe won't stall progress as we look into 2026.
Yeah, so the grant dollars are almost, 99.9% used for capital.
Okay.
Right, so for very specific projects that we have to go out and say, hey, we want, 6 new T hangars built at our airport. We're going to apply for a grant in order to get these. Or we want, 2 new hybrid buses for... So we're very strategic in what our asks are. We can't just, go in and say, we have an $11 million deficit in our budget. We need $11 million for operations in the city. They're not going to...
They wouldn't take pity on us and be like, that sounds great. We'll help you.
So it's very strategic and planned for what we're asking for. And it's always for a larger picture. But we include that in our budget because if you think about it, the city has almost taken an additional $30 million, right, in projects that we are not even...
That we the taxpayers are not... It's not coming out of our city sales tax. It's coming out of our state sales tax or federal.
Correct.
Not saying it's not public funds, but it's not the money that we spend here in Pueblo.
Right. And so you have to account for what is that, what are the strings that are attached to those dollars?
Sure.
It's additional staff, right? Because you have to be able to have people to monitor and manage these projects. That's kind of where we saw the staff increase over the last several years, was because we received multi-million dollars worth of funding, whether it's Safe Streets for All grants and roundabouts and paving and curb and gutter, or the boathouse, or Main and Union revitalization. I mean, there's so many projects that we receive funding for, but we have to have people do those projects.
Right.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Okay. But I think one thing in particular, so we mentioned transit and airport. One thing that we've seen that's been a huge benefit to Pueblo is the paving at the airport. Earlier this year we received a paving award, which is kind of an anomaly. We went to that awards conference, and most of the time it was, a streetway or a public right-of-way, even like a highway type of project rather than like an airport that maybe not every person in Pueblo drives. And then, as you mentioned, hangars. I know we had an award last week, and that's been something that for the last couple of years we've had a lot of citizens ask, when are we going to get more hangars, and when can we increase our revenue generation out at the airport? And so I think it's pretty incredible to see these large multi-millions invested into transportation and how that's going to shape Pueblo's future for how we serve our citizens or how we attract more people to be in Pueblo. Right. So $30 million is pretty incredible.
Kudos to our grant writer.
Yeah. And we have one grant writer.
We have one grant writer, and there's many working parts in the city between reporting and finance, or each department kind of has, a person or a team of people who does the reporting to make sure that we're meeting the deadlines. Right. And it's kind of been an interesting time for the grants because, if the federal government is shut down, then there's holds, and we don't know if we're going to receive our funding, or it's just this game we're continuously playing. Yeah, we had some conversation, in February with the large EPA brownfield grant that we received. I know we received a lot of inquiries of are you actually going to receive this grant? And it's significant because it's a 5-year grant. Yep. And I think for the most part, Pueblo's been pretty lucky with our retention of these funds and being able to move these projects forward. So absolutely.
Great. Anything else about the budget that you think we should cover, or you wanted to explain a little bit more about?
I don't think so. I think we touched on it last night. City Council did not ask for any additional work sessions. I'm sure we'll see some questions for them maybe over the next week. The public hearing will be on October 27th.
Monday, yeah.
With the first reading for the budget, second meeting in November, final reading, fourth meeting in November. So we still have some time. We might see some amendments.
Sure.
Come forward, or some different proposals come forward. But at this time, we have not been requested to provide any additional information on the 2026 proposed.
Okay, great. I think one more thing to maybe mention is there are going to be no new positions in the city.
Yeah, no
as
new
far as staffing goes.
Positions. This is our second year that we have done. We get lots of requests from departments for additional positions. Last year, we approved an accountant for half cent sales tax fund, paid out of the half cent sales tax fund, and we approved 6 positions for the new fire stations.
Right.
But I mean,
outside of that, there were no
new positions granted, and this year there was no positions at all.
Okay.
And I think we abolished 7 positions with an overall savings of $241,000 because some of those positions were grant funded previously.
Sure.
And so when those grants run out, if the city doesn't want to continue to pick up and pay those wages, we have to abolish them and move on. Got
it. So abolished 18 last year and 7 this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean that's
significant.
We're making our way little by little, just to reduce, especially if we're not doing the projects that we were doing, several years ago. So
or they're completed.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, we have some upcoming events. We did have a really successful Team Up to Clean Up this past weekend.
Yeah, it was. We had lots of volunteers.
Yeah, I think
shout out to everybody who showed up and hung with us.
Yeah,
all day. We had some citizens volunteers. We had city employees who were there, and some city employees' kids who even showed up to help us.
I think it was the most volunteers we've had.
Yeah, take away the trash. So it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was great. But speaking of cleanup, so if folks were unable to join us for Team Up to Clean Up, the city has our discount days with Waste Connections. That's October 20th through November 1st, and that's a 50% discount on all loads. And one question we get a lot is, so how much does that cost? People ask, like, what is the 50% discount? It depends on how big your load is.
Right.
So if you have a load with just a mattress, you'd get half off of that. But if you have a big load with lots of trash or branches, leaves, other household waste, it would be more expensive, and it would be 50% of whatever that cost would be. So if it's normally $40, it'll be $20. If it's normally $100, it'll be $50. And Wayside Connections landfill hours are Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. until 5, and then Saturday from 8 a.m. till 1, and they are located at 5715 West State Highway 78. So just south of town. It's pretty easy to get there, and you have till November 1st to take an opportunity to take advantage of the discounts. So that'll be good too. We also have the trunk or treat for El Centro this Saturday from 4 to 7, and there is trick or treating at City Hall on Halloween.
And there's trick or treating on the Harp.
Oh yes, Fright Night on the Harp.
And it's big. We got a booth, and it's the entire Riverwalk, and it's
probably one of the biggest Halloween events we have in the city, right?
I mean, it's like you can't even walk. There's so many kids and cool costumes and fun. Harp puts pumpkins out for everyone to come grab a pumpkin if you choose to do so. They do costume contests. It's
cool.
It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty busy.
So we have 2 opportunities for that this weekend.
Yep.
Trick-or-treating at City Hall next week. Halloween is already next week.
It's crazy.
Friday next week, 2 to 4. And you can find out more information on our Facebook page. Another thing that every time we have this podcast this month, we haven't talked about is the patch. So, and then we get finished, and I said we didn't talk about the patch. So it is October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So you might see the police department has their pink patches, which is really cool. But another thing they did was they have the wrap.
Pink wrap, yep. And we've seen kind of all different departments all over Colorado doing that.
It's really cool. So, we have a lot of support for cancer research and cancer center here in Pueblo, but I thought it was really neat that we got to wrap a vehicle for breast cancer awareness. So you might see that out around town as well during October. So it's pretty cool. And I know the fire department does their pink shirts. I saw Chief with his pink patch shirt yesterday too. So very cool to see people supporting Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Finally remembered.
Good job. It's only been sitting here all month.
Every time I put it there and I'm like, okay, we're going to talk about it. And then we don't. Okay. Anything else, Mayor, that we need to know about?
Think we're good.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us on the Mayor's Mixtape. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch on local channel 17 and email us your questions or topic suggestions, mayor@pueblo.us. And we will see you next week.